Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Cheyenne Spotlight. I'm your host, Carrie Harris, a local realtor with I-323 Real Estate. And today we are celebrating one of our most treasured community resources, the Laramie County Library, and their annual book bash, where I got to interview the woman of the hour, New York Times bestselling author, Shelby Pelt, who wrote the beloved Remarkably Bright Creatures. But before we dive into the conversation, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Shelby, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. So, Remarkably Bright Creatures, over 2 million copies sold, more than a year on the New York Times bestseller list, and from every age, this book has resonated. Now it's becoming a Netflix film starring Sally Field. This has got to be surreal for you. So I just want to congratulate you on this incredible journey.
Oh, thank you. It truly has been wild. I mean, my life has turned upside down, back and forth every which way since the book came out.
So let's just dive in with a very special guy, Marcellus.
He is a special guy.
He is a very special guy. He is a very special guy. So he has a very wry, sarcastic almost voice. Was that always the way you heard him?
Absolutely.
Or you was?
Yes.
Yes, so that didn't develop. It was like that was him from the beginning.
That was him from the beginning. He almost sounded a little bit like Stewie Griffin in my head.
Yes.
When I first heard the voice. But it's interesting with most of the characters that I write, the voice sort of comes to me. Like that part of writing is kind of the easy part for me versus like the intricate plotting and all of those things.
Well, he has a very distinct voice, and I love it.
Yeah, I was a cranky old man in a prior life.
So I'm going to talk about something a little bit personal. Both my parents died before I was 5, and I think that's why I resonate so much with Cameron's character. And in your description of Cameron to the Wyoming Tribune, you said that he's just scared, suffering from this chronic fear of believing in himself, and that good things can happen to him, but hiding it behind overconfidence. And I was like, girl, nailed it. Nailed it. So how did you strike the balance between creating a character that is so frustrating, but we ultimately all want to root for?
Well, I mean, I think there's parts of him that are like a little bit me. I don't necessarily have his same backstory with the losses and stuff, but I have definitely like Cameroned my way through life a little bit at times. And I always say I feel like every group has a Cameron, every family has a Cameron, every friend group has a Cameron. Like there's always someone who you just kind of want to like shake them and tell them to get out of their own way.
They're so lovable, but frustrating at the same time.
It's just a very I feel like it's a very common sort of archetype.
Yeah, no doubt. So Marin, I hope I pronounced her name, Marin Ireland and
Yes.
Michael Urie did a fantastic job on the audio
So
version.
great.
What was the process like for picking those narrators?
Well, I'll tell you this. Sometimes my kids take things very literally. And at one point I was doing, I think, a podcast or something that I was recording from my house, and my kids were sort of in the room. This was before I had an office of my own to close the door. And I said something along the lines of, I think I owe Michael Urie and Marin Ireland my firstborn for the job that they did narrating Remarkably Bright Creatures. And my daughter was in tears. Because she was like, you're going to give me away.
What?
But like, part of me was kind of like, well, yeah, kind of do owe them.
So did you pick them?
Yeah, I picked
Do
from
they
a
audition?
list. No, they don't really audition. My publisher gave me a list of sort of ideas and asked me to listen to samples and then sort of rank them based on my preferences. And
I literally don't think anybody could have done a better job. Because I read it first and I was like in love with it. But their voices are what I heard in my head when I read it.
Yeah.
So nailed it.
They both nailed it.
Completely. So I read that you are an executive producer on the film adaptation.
Yes.
And that you were on set. What was it like seeing your characters come to life in a different way?
I have to say, I think the craziest thing about being on set was seeing Sally Field, who plays Tova in the movie, seeing her for the first time on set in costume as Tova. In the book, the character of Tova was really based on my grandmother. And I had actually sent some photos of my grandmother to Livy Newman, the director. She had asked me if I would send her some pictures of my grandma so they could kind of get the vibe.
Yeah.
And so I dug out of, like actual physical photos out of photo albums from the 80s and 90s and sent them to Livy. And they just nailed my grandmother. Like it was, I was like seeing a ghost.
Oh, wow.
Because my grandmother passed away several years ago. But so that was really unreal. And then just seeing, like, thinking back to, 5 years ago, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table during the pandemic, like writing these characters, and now they are like here in front of me. Like, it's crazy.
I bet it was amazing.
Yeah.
Completely amazing. So I'm so excited that you're working on another book. I was very thrilled about that because I know that there's sometimes a lot of pressure when the debut is...
Yeah, no pressure at all.
No pressure at all. It's fine. It's fine. I'm glad it's not going to be another To Kill a Mockingbird kind of situation. So I'm so glad that you're working on another project. Can you tell us anything about it?
Well, it's been very hard. It's been a very different process. When, like I said, I was at the kitchen table during COVID, sort of finishing Remarkably Bright Creatures. I didn't know anything about publishing, and I really never thought anyone was going to read it. And you kind of,
wow,
you can't really ever get like that innocence back. It's an innocence. Now I know that there are expectations, and it's just a very different process trying to like kind of work through those in my head as I'm writing. So it's been slow going.
I saw that you wrote, you had it in recently, and I was so excited that you were like, it's not going to have an octopus.
It will not.
So everybody calm down. And I think that's great. I think that Harper Lee probably could have gave us so much greater stuff, but there was so much pressure on her, and I'm so glad that you're like, everybody pump the brakes, because I'm so excited to see whatever you create.
I feel like I need to prove to myself that I can do it without Marcellus sort of holding my hand.
He's a great guy.
He's a special guy.
He's such a special guy. He's such a special guy. What words of advice do you have to aspiring authors?
I think something that I didn't really know before I started getting more into writing myself was just how much like having a community of other writers around you can really help. I always, kind of thought of the stereotype of like, oh, the writers just go off to a cabin in the woods and like write, and
they
then
just
it's
bang
done.
it out. There it is.
And there certainly is an element of that. Like it is ultimately a solitary thing. But I would never be here if I hadn't found a really great critique group and sort of belong to several like larger communities, some online communities where people can support each other and pass information back and forth. And it's a lot more fun that way too.
Right.
So I think don't try to go it alone, I guess, is my advice. And then of course it's always, well, how do you find that group? I found my initial critique group by taking a continuing education class, a creative writing class. So,
I think I wrote that, and they asked you to write from a different perspective.
Yes, Marcellus was born in that class.
Which is brilliant.
And also I found the critique
Thank the Lord
group
for that teacher, right?
Yeah.
I really want to thank you for your time, and I don't know that I can say into words exactly how much this book means to me, but what I can say is that I'm grateful, and I appreciate your time, and I'm so grateful you created something that's touched so many people.
You're going to make me cry, Carrie.
Thank you so much, Shelby.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this very special edition of Cheyenne Spotlight. I'm so grateful to Shelby Van Pelt for taking the time to visit with me, and most of all for writing this incredible novel. If you haven't read Remarkably Bright Creatures, you need to. Beyond being available everywhere books are sold, the Laramie County Library usually has several copies on hand to borrow. In addition to that, you can access the audio and text versions through their digital resource, Libby. We'll see you next week when we shine light on another local business. Until then, please be kind and let your light shine.